Hello, everyone. Thanks for doing this talk. We're going to talk about, are we ready for the next cyber crisis like Log4j or not? And the answer is probably not. I want to dedicate this talk to a great human, an amazing friend, and awesome developer who longer is not with us, Ali Reza. I'm going to tell you a story today, a really, really scary horror movie, like a horror movie. You will think about it tonight, I'm quite sure. So I will start this one. This is a story with a prologue. Who has ever copied a set of bash commands from a Stack Overflow, ChatGPT, or something like that? And I'm talking about these type of things that with a lot of positive votes. Okay, I see still some hands are not raised. And yeah, you know what? When you say that, the hackers laugh to you. Because if you have, for example, installed brew, for sure you have run some of those commands. So I want to tell you something. You're one command away from gifting access to a hacker. And I'm specifically using gifting because you will give the access to the hacker. Hacker will not do anything. To show you how, I want to ask you, who can recognize this command? Our Linux expert. Go ahead. Yes, it's reverse shell. Anyone recognize this one? Also, our friend? Okay, so I will show you. If you don't know what it is, I will show you. I think it's better. So look at this. I have two terminals. Can you see the terminals? I will first, on the above terminal, I will connect to a server. Okay. Internet is a bit slow, but I'm connected to a server. I'll run clear. And the second one is also, I will connect to another server. So there are two different servers. And as you can see, I'm running SSH command, so I'm connecting with my machine to another server. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this command on the first machine, which I want to call it hacker machine. And the second one is this command that I just showed you. Here it is. And look at the screen at the top, and the terminal above. Did you see what happened? So the terminal above got the access to the second terminal. There are two different servers. So I created a session and forwarded the session to the hacker machine with just one command. But you might say, okay, I'm not going to run such command on my machine. I will not do that. Huh? Well, who said that you will run this command? I'm going to show you a project, a simple Java project that we're all familiar with it. Look at this. It's an empty project. I initialized it on the Spring Initializer. Nothing in it. No code. The only thing that I did, look at you can look at this. Also, there's no test in it. The only thing that I did, I added a dependency to it, JSON. The only thing that I did, I added the JSON. Now I'm going to do what? So let me close this terminal. So this one. I need to close it on this one. Okay. Let's clear it. I will run this command again. I will exit on the second server. Now I'm on my local machine. I'm on my laptop. Just take a look at it. I'm going to run a command that is familiar to all of us. Can someone read it out loud? Is it visible? I'm going to run Maven install on my machine. Just a disclaimer. My laptop is connected to a hotspot, so my laptop even doesn't have a static IP address. So no one, even the machines that are in the same network, they cannot reach out to my machine. All ports are blocked. I'm running Maven install. Okay, it's running the test. Awesome. Oh, you're hacked. Okay. And let's wait a little bit more because the internet is not really good here. Let's pray to the God of demo. We will get the connection just in a second. Okay, no problem. We can try one more time. So I will run it again. I will run maybe install. Yes. You can see. I just run Maven install, and the hacker got the terminal access. It's mind-blowing. When the first time I tried it, I was like, what the hell? I just run a Maven install. I didn't thought that something like is going to happen. OK, so I will put my hat off because I'm not a hacker anymore. So let's continue the session. So this was the reverse shell. This is an example of supply chain attack. It's a new battlefront in the cybersecurity. So in this session, we will go through the different aspects of this one and look at this. But who I am, why I'm here, why I'm talking about this. I'm Soroosh. I'm just another developer. I'm a software consultant at CodeNomad, and I'm a researcher in the supply chain security and currently helping Rabobank as a solution architect in this specific topic. I had a lot of learnings, a lot of research that I thought I can share this with you. But I'm not a security expert, so I might also say some of the things that are not really accurate, so forgive me for those things. Let's continue with the story, with the first act, unmask. I'm going to elaborate a little bit that what I just showed you, what is the story behind it. But before that one, we need to step back a little bit to the roots. Classic cyber attacks. So I think all of you recognize those names, right? But the question is, who have ever tried a SQL injection, not in theory, but actually practical, to see what you can do with a SQL injection? So I see some hands are raised, but not many, right? So I want to tell you that if you haven't tried a SQL injection by yourself, practical, and also other ones like XSS, you should stop writing the code immediately, today. Go to one of those links that I shared in the chat, in the read more section, or I don't know, just search on the internet, register for a training, and learn those things, because they're really, really important. You might say that, okay, SQL injection is old, who cares about it? I'm using a Spring, and it already mitigates those SQL injection stuff. That's wrong. They're still gifted. How? Look at this one. So let me see if I can put the laser on. Yes. So this picture, you will see some statistics from OWASP. So it's called OWASP Top 10. So in 2017, you could see some items. And in 2021, few items has been moved up and down. So you will see that still some of those attacks are still gifting to the hackers, right? But what is really interesting for me, and if I can show you the laser, okay, it's not working. Awesome. Okay, here it is. We have the laser. If you can see, the vulnerable components is something that was like below list, but in 2021 moved a little bit up. There will be a new report in a few months, and researchers and experts in security expect to see that item, the vulnerable components, and some other forms of supply chain risk to go even higher, maybe in the top 3. And this is what we're going to talk about today, supply chain risks. So all of us, most of us, we are familiar with the third-party vulnerabilities. And also Sander also showed some examples like use renovate stuff, which is not always related to vulnerabilities, but about the software components that we use in our applications, right? But there are some other risks like dependency confusion, supply chain hijacking, or compromised build environment that I just showed you, that I just run Maven install, but the JSON that was installed in my machine, it was cached in my Maven, it was a compromised one and gifted access to the hacker. So there are a few of them. We'll go through some of them today, and also we'll go through the mitigations around that one. This supply chain risk was something that was there for like millennia. Even our ancestors, then when they were fighting with each other, they were also planning doing some supply chain stuff like poisoning the water, food, or those things. It's a really simple trick, but effective. Also, it's been there in the software industry for a long time, but it was really underestimated until that a lot of good things recently happened. Not the good thing, actually, but really interesting. And I want to go through them to see what are those supply chain risk-related things that happened in the past few years. So the first one, the big one, was SolarWinds. It was really scary, which was intentional. It was an actual attack. So some hackers attacked the SolarWinds, and a lot of servers got hacked. Next one, I think all of us were familiar with the Log4Shell, We will talk about it also later. Later, we had a Spring4Shell in 2022, few months after Log4Shell. And last year, we had the XZ Backdoor. And a week ago, we had Next.js. Who heard about the Next.js vulnerability? It was all over the internet. Also, another one, Ingress Hell. So vulnerabilities in the components is something that is really common. It happens every day. And also, the supply chain attacks, the hackers that target those open source components, put the malicious stuff in it, malwares in it, it is also common. You might say, okay, but we only had this Log4Shell. It was 4 years ago, right? Yeah. Let me show you a real statistic from Maven Central. Still, 13% of the downloads of the Log4j are vulnerable. Few people among you, like every 10 person, 1 person is downloading vulnerable. So some people here still are downloading the vulnerable Log4j. Hopefully not. Huh? So we are not prepared yet for the existing Log4j one. And what about the new one? I don't know. I want to talk about a dependency confusion, which is one of the really highest risk in the one of the biggest one. It's a really important one that all of you should be aware of it by now, and I will explain a little bit more here. So dependency confusion is like, okay, I'm a developer. Let's say I'm a really expert developer, really principal, I don't know, senior or whatever, which I'm not. I want to add a library to my project in the POM, and I think that, okay, it's a private library of the company. Okay, and the developers who build this library, they're really expert. And okay, I have this artifact, but I have really good test coverage. I have 200% test coverage. So I mean, I'm testing one use case from different ways. Huh? So what can go wrong? I'll just stick to the major version, and I always use the latest one. What can go wrong? Huh? And I also have build pipeline. In the build, if anything goes wrong, I will fail the build. Huh? So I expect to download my package from a repository that is specified in my Maven settings. Huh? But I also have another repository in my settings that when I'm running the Maven install, my Maven tries to look at, okay, which one has the highest version? And what if a developer got access, privileged access, on one of those repositories that maybe they're public? Not maybe Maven Central, but maybe you have added another repository that a hacker managed to hack it. Or maybe one of your internal repositories in the organization got hacked by someone. Huh? And put a version, not a malicious version, with a really high number, like 1.1.9999. So you're looking for the latest version. Huh? So your Maven install will do what? Will download the malicious one. And you already know what will happen. Huh? This is what I showed you. But what can happen? Are the hacker going to print you're hacked? Of course not. I'm just doing it for this presentation. But they will just get in and they started doing lateral movement. They will try to see, okay, I'm in. Which servers I have access to, what data I can steal. Can I also persist the mechanism like a backdoor in the production that, okay, next time I will not even do anything. I will just knock the door and I will get in. So these are all the things that the hackers can do. We don't know. It's really risky. Can we protect it? Not entirely. We can minimize the risk. But even my machine, my laptop, I showed you, it's connected to a Wi-Fi. It doesn't even have an IP address, but the hacker got the access to my machine, a root access. Okay. I want to make it a bit more clear for you what I'm talking about. So go to Spring Boot Initializer, create a base application. You only have two dependencies when you generate a base one without any extra dependency. You have the Spring Boot starter and you have a Spring Boot test starter. With these two dependencies, your application still have 49 dependencies, the dependencies of the sub-dependencies. So any of those dependencies can be compromised. I think by now you understand what I'm talking about the risk that we have with our libraries that we're using, all the dependencies our application have. I want to give you a real example about something that I tested by myself. It was really nice, but in the laboratory, of course. So let's say you have a library that is vulnerable to SQL injection, and you forgot to update it. What can go wrong? Okay, with the SQL injection, I can run some commands on the Postgres server. And what if the Postgres server is also a bit outdated and it's also vulnerable to, I don't know, some sort of arbitrary command, those things. So you can run some commands on the PostgreSQL? And what if that Postgres is also deployed on a container that was also not up to date and also has vulnerability? So by using one of those vulnerability, I can get a root access on the container. And guess what? Even the Kubernetes cluster that container was deployed on it was using a version that is not also really old. I think it was a year ago. You can see it. And I can get the root access on the Kubernetes cluster. And I'm the king in the castle. Huh? All started with a simple SQL injection. The hacker get into the network and started to doing the experiment to see what is possible. And actually hackers do those things. Maybe you think that, okay, who is going to plan to do those things? They do. They have a lot of automation. They have a lot of scripts that do all those things automatically for them. Okay. Okay, we're scared enough. How we can protect? Let's take a look at some recommendations that help us to minimize this risk, because we cannot fully mitigate or control it. We can minimize it. 3 categories: critical, essential, and advanced. The critical ones that I'm really asking you to do it immediately if you, for example, tomorrow. The first one is naming convention and reserve namespaces. So you need to make sure that you have a standard naming convention for your artifacts in the company. For example, com.company or something like that. But you need to make sure that no one is using, for example, nl.company, or maybe your company has a long name and someone's using a hyphen in the name. So you need to make sure that you all agreed on the same naming convention and you're protecting and you're governing this. And the second one, it's not really applicable for Maven, but for PyPy, NuGet, and NPM is really important to reserve the scope and namespace and the prefix. So on those platforms, you can reserve them. It's really easy. Just do it. It's simple. Second, version pinning. I think I don't need to explain this one. Sander already did it really greatly in the keynote. So please do not use latest for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was what Sander explained, and another reason is, okay, you will get into the version range attack that I also showed you for the dependency confusion one. And you can also, of course, use tools to help you with updating your components. The third one is a bit tricky, especially for the Java. But okay, let's take a look at it. So the first 3 commands, Maven clean install, strict checksums, Maven enforcer plugin, and GPG signature, can help you that when you're downloading something from the Maven, the package that you requested, and there is a checksum on the Maven, with the package that you actually downloaded have the same checksum. So it helps you that there is no man in the middle, or I don't know, some proxies in the between that gives you the compromised component. It's important. But the last one, dependencies log file. It's not easy on the Maven because it's not available in the built-in Maven. You can use some extensions, but on the Gradle, I think it's available. And I also heard that on Maven 4, they want to add these dependencies log file. It's available on NPM and PyPy. It's really nice. So when you install a package, you will also store the checksum of the package that you downloaded. You can store it in your Git. So next time that you run the Maven install, it makes sure that, okay, you're installing the right artifact dependency. The last one, it's obvious. Clean up unused libraries. It's really obvious and to the point. You just need to run this command, and then you can find the ones that you're not using, and you can delete them from your POM. Essential ones, they're the ones that take some time, a month or 2. You need to maybe buy some products. First of all, try to use the official repositories. Do not copy-paste any repository that is recommended or suggested on the Stack Overflow or our friend ChatGPT or, I don't know, Cloud. Don't use them. Try to stick to the official ones. And the second one, if you have to use a vendor repository, for example, maybe JFrog or Splunk, something like that, try to first install a proxy repository solution like Nexus Repository Manager or JFrog. They can help you to put some rules, some routing rules, to say, okay, I do not want to download any package that starts with these, for example, nl.codenomass.something from any repository except our internal repository. So it will help you that you do not download the packages from where you do not expect to get. It's important, but it's also kind of easy. You just need to set up a proxy repository. Second one, renovate Dependabot. Who is using renovate? Okay, half of the people. So please use, or is anyone using Dependabot? Okay, so still half of the people are not using these tools. They're really cool. You just need to configure them, create automated pull requests for you, and you can keep your dependencies up to date. The third one, immutable versions. It's important. You can think about it, how you can change your way of working and how you're building your artifacts to enforce immutable version. Why I'm saying that? Just imagine that you're not even releasing a new version of your artifacts, your internal libraries. But a hacker managed to replace one of your existing artifacts. No one will detect this one. It's very difficult. But if you already enforce the version to be immutable, okay, when a version is in the repository, it's there. No one can replace it. And if there's a new version, you can watch it that, okay, who created this one? Why? We do not have changelog for it, or there is no report for it. So this one is really important. Last but not least, and I think is one of the most important one, try to incorporate dependency scanning tools or software composition analysis tool, SCA. So I want to call it dependency scanning. It's easier for me. So like OWASP scan, Sonatype Lifecycle, Sneak, Anchor, and I'm going to show you those tools a little bit now. But what these tools do, they scan your project. They'll see that, okay, you have a POM XML, like 2 dependencies in your POM XML. Okay, let's figure out how many dependencies that you have actually. The dependencies of the sub-dependencies, it will collect all of them in a report called SBOM. In this SBOM, you will see everything. What are those dependencies? What are the licenses? What is the version? What is the checksum? The one that you see on the right side is the really lightweight version, but it can get like 10,000 lines easily. But you're not going to read that file, right? But this dependency scanning tool will generate these for you, and you can also add some metadata to this SBOM. Like, what is this application that I'm actually scanning? Who owns this application? What is the, for example, AIC rating or CIA rating for this application? It's simply how important is this application? Is it a critical application for our business? Is it internet facing? You can store all those metadata there. And you can also see the vulnerabilities that, okay, at the time of the deploy, we already know that these dependencies are used and these vulnerabilities are for these dependencies. So you can say that, okay, I know, I'm accepting the risk. With these dependencies, I'm fine. Let's go to production. And you go there. Also licenses. Some of our companies, they are not allowed to, for example, use any package from, I don't know, China or Russia or some countries, right? Or maybe my country. So we need to also take a look at them. And in the SBOM, we can take a look at those licenses. So this is called SBOM. I will go deeper with the SBOM later. But how we can generate it, it's really easy. You can generate it in different stages. And one of them is source code, and I think the source code is the best one. Why? Because you have everything. There is a nice tool from OWASP called the PSCAN, and the PSCAN is like a jack of all trades. Just go to the root directory of your code, run it, and you can also provide some parameters, and it will generate a really nice report for you. It also has some report that, okay, you already have those vulnerabilities, and some of them are really severe. You can configure it. It's really nice, open source, free. It's amazing. But we are Java developer, and we have a good support of community. So I think after the Spring Boot version 3.3, the SBOM generation has been added to the Spring. So the only thing that you need to do is adding a plugin to your Maven, and then you can just run it and get the SBOM output easily. It's amazing. You can also generate it for your Docker image. There are many different tools. Even nowadays, I think the Docker CLI also have a parameter, an action that you can generate the SBOM. But I like the Sift one. It generates a really good SBOM reports. The quality is higher than others. So as you can see, it's only 2 commands. You run it on your image, and you will get the SBOM for free. And I will later show you how fruitful is and how useful is this SBOM for incidents and security crises. There are many different tools. A lot of paid one and also a lot of free one. Up to you. You can see which one fits you. But let's go to the advanced recommendation that will eventually may take a year for your company to incorporate those things. First one, dependency firewall. Dependency firewall is like, let's say, it's a proxy. It's a proxy that instead of you downloading the artifacts from the Maven Central, you will download it from this proxy. But this proxy will add a really nice value. And what is that value? That it will do the scanning of the requested package real time. That if there is a malware in that package, or you have some policies in your organization that you should not download, I don't know, any package with the vulnerability, with a severe vulnerability, this dependency firewall can block it. It's amazing. But yeah, there are only few tools in the market, and they're kind of expensive. But yeah, it's a nice thing. Second one, which is my favorite one, is signing the artifacts. So if I generated a jar file and I want to put it in production, why I'm not signing that jar file? So the hacker, it would be very difficult for hacker to steal my key and sign the compromised jar, right? And the good thing is that I can verify it. Easily I can verify it. So implementing this sign of jars is not really easy, but you can think about it. It's a food for thought. And the second one, which is kind of easier than signing the jar file, is signing the container images. It's really easy. You can just one command, sign the image, and you can also enforce signed container images to only be deployed on your Kubernetes, for example. So it will really protect you from those type of things. It's really nice. Again, last but not least, continuous monitoring on the SBOM. So when we have the SBOMs in our pipelines, we can store them somewhere and monitor them for new vulnerabilities, right? And this is something that I'm going to talk about it in the resilience. So we already put some walls around our castle, so we have some protection, but we need to be also able to defend. I want to tell the story again. Who remembers Log4Shell? All of you, of course, all of you. Otherwise, you're not in this conference, right? All the Java developers remember. It was December 2021. We were getting prepared for the Christmas holiday, huh? And I think it was Friday afternoon that I got a call that, hey, do we have Log4j in our projects? I said, yes, of course. But, okay, which application? And there are other applications in the company that they also have Log4j. And okay, how to fix it and how to detect it. So we had like 2,000 microservices in our company, and everyone was asking those questions. That okay, everyone was panicked. That first it was the Minecraft server that got hacked, and eventually they started calling us on the Friday evening. Everyone was panicked out. But I think we know the answer now. If we had SBOMs all collected in one central place, it was easy, right? We could just only query, if, for example, if you put all these SBOMs in a MongoDB, it was just one query to get all the applications that have the Log4j, the vulnerable version, also getting the list of the people who owns those applications. Easy. There are many tools that do this for us. So we can send the SBOM, publish the SBOM on those solutions, and in case of any 0-day, they will alert. They will send us notification that, hey, you have a lot of problems. You need to take a look at it. And they quickly help us to find the answer of these questions. Okay, because we have the SBOM, we have all those vulnerabilities, we have all those components, we can answer those questions. Which application? Based on the metadata that we stored, if this application is critical or not, we can prioritize which applications needs to be fixed immediately. If they're internet-facing, if they have customer impact. And who to contact? I already answered this one. And the last, are we safe now? Of course, when you release, you have an updated SBOM. So you can still check that, okay, if the number of the vulnerable applications are going down or not. That's amazing. Huh? This is SBOM and continuous monitoring. So there is a nice tool from OWASP. It's called Dependency Track. I really like it. It's open source, free, really fancy. You can just set up your organization, how you deploy the things, everything. It's really customizable. The only thing that you need to do is to upload the SBOM there. And you can also define alerts and notifications to how to get those notifications. It's really nice. But this is not the only tools. There are many different tools. I've seen Wiz, Sneak, Sona Type 1, Anchor, and Mend. They're all nice. So you need to see which one is better for your company, so you can take a look at them. By the way, there is a link in the Read More section called OWASP DevSecOps Guideline. So you can take a look at it. Most of the things that I explained today, you can find them there. And also, there are a lot of tools that you can see there that maybe I didn't mention here because the people are always updating this DevSecOps guideline. Okay. I did all those fancy things, critical ones, essential ones, and advanced ones. But am I prepared now for the new crisis? What do you think? Still not. Bruce has a really nice quote that if you think technology can solve your security problems, probably you don't understand the problems and you don't understand the technology. That's absolutely right. Because with all those tools, if I still run that brew install, the post on the Stack Overflow that tell me run this bash command to install the brew, no one can protect me. So we are the key. And we should take a look at this one. That there is a new principle, let's say a new practice called DevSecOps. And some of you might say, what the hell is this? We are just adopting DevOps and we're still not mature. And what is this DevSecOps? I would say that, okay, it's a new practice, but it's not that much different than what we're already doing with DevOps. But it's talking about that, okay, we have the tools, cool, but we need to also train the people a little bit. We need to also think of the governance on those things. We need to think a little bit different, And there are a lot of nice practices that also really related to this DevSecOps. For example, shift left security. And if you see that, for example, they're encouraging us, they're recommending us that before you start writing the code, before you starting building your application, maybe you can think of some security related things that, okay, this application is going to be installed on the client or customer machine. What if this application got compromised? Huh? And doing some threat modeling that, okay, what are the risks, what are the consequences and those things. And a lot of other things that you can take a look at them. And there's also, I also put the link of the DevSecOps guideline here that you see, okay, what is the secret scanning, what is the IAC scanning, and I don't know, dust, load stress, what is the relevancy of those things for the security. You can take a look at them. But just want to highlight that if we also do all these shift left security practices, the last part, which is when your application is in the production, are still important. This is still the most important one. You still need to have firewall, you still need to have logging and monitoring, you still need to have bug bounty program, because of course the hackers are one step forward. They think better than us sometimes. Huh? So it would be good to hire them with bug bounty program and not having like a black hat hacker like me that tries those things. Okay. My story is kind of finished, but I promise to also go through a bit boring stuff, compliancy, and I promise that I will make it quick. So there are some standards from ISO that explained a few items for the supply chain security. We have two standards for the SBOM. I showed you the Cyclone DX one, the JSON one, and there is also SPDX. It is good, but they're interchangeable. You can convert them. They're really easy to be converted, so that's nice. And there is a framework, SLSA. It helps your organization to become mature, to mitigate and prevent the supply chain risk. So this is really nice. Different levels, some recommendations. Some of them are similar to the ones that I shared with you today. You can take a look at them. There are some regulations in the world, some in the Europe, and some in the US by NIST. Well, I think some of you might have heard of DORA. Who has heard of DORA? Okay, I think you're all working in the financial institution. Huh? So DORA is familiar for all of us, but there will be something new called CRA that you will hear from your manager soon. That for that one, you need to also make sure that you're collecting the SBOMs properly, not only for the in-house built softwares, but also from the softwares that you buy from a vendor. So for any new version that they're delivering to you, they need to also hand over the SBOM. And it's really important. And there's also a timeline that, you need to implement this SBOM thingy in your organization by, I think, in 2 years, something like that. That's it. So I hope that you learned something new. And if you learned something, please share your feedback with me. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer your questions. Please.
Yes, so one thing I missed perhaps or was the minimization of container images and Java runtimes. Is it also something?
Yes, of course. Yeah, so I will repeat the question. That is it a good practice to use the slim images and also lightweight images and not having many libraries in our Java file? Yeah, of course. So if you use more dependencies, the attack surface will be more, right? So it will be more wider. So try to use lightest image Docker or I don't know, or dependencies that you use, try to use the minimum as possible. And try to also clean up the unused libraries. This is also one of the recommendations. Any other questions? Go ahead.
We also use Renovate.
Yeah.
With Renovate, you have an option called auto merge. Is that an
Can you repeat? What is the option?
auto merge? So
Okay, yeah.
So you won't have to you not have to link it yourself with automatically.
Yeah.
I was just thinking during your talk, is that also an issue? Like, is it made in the same category as using the latest library?
Okay. So I will repeat the question. The question is that if you use the auto merge functionality of the Renovate, is the good practice or not? Yeah. I think you can, for example, configure some parameters in the Renovate that do not just bump the version like 1 minute after the new version has been released. So because a few people also asked me yesterday that is it a good idea to update our dependencies really quickly? No, this is not a good practice to always bump to the new version immediately. I think the good practice, my suggestion at least, is wait a few days to see if that version is really a legit one or not, and then update it. Because I want to share something nice. I don't know how much time do we have, so okay, we still have time. I wanted to show you something, but I thought, okay, let's skip it on the slides, but we have time. Some of the accounts, for example, on the GitHub or on the NPM, they belong some, I don't know, a developer, an ignorant one, and they forgot to, for example, enable two-factor authentication. Or they are using their own domain for their account, and they forget to renew the domain. So if you go to these websites, the private websites, the hackers put offers that, okay, I will sell the information. You will see a lot of those accounts that they're being sold like for 20,000 euro or 50,000. And the most famous one was the UA parser. So UA parser JS, it was a dependency that I think they had 17 million downloads every week. And the hacker put an offer that I will sell the credentials of this account for 20,000 euro. Just think about it. 15 million downloads every week, and the hacker got access to this account by easily just taking over the domain, resetting the password, and now he's the king in the castle. So he can release a new version. And just imagine that, they release a new version tomorrow, and you say, oh, there's a new version, let's update it. So I think it's good to, wait a little bit and try to, update the things a little bit more carefully. That's my suggestion. But yeah, again, I'm a researcher, I'm not an expert. We can also ask Brian, because also in the afternoon, Brian is going to talk about the LLMs. So the LLMs that you're also importing in your application, they can also have vulnerability, and really serious ones. So even remote command execution is something that is possible and has been identified for some of the LLMs that are, some of the models that has been uploaded on the Hugging Face. So be really careful. Any question? Okay. Thank you so much. So don't forget to share the feedback. Thanks.